Chapter 1, Introduction. Hi there, my name is Lily, and I am 21 years old. I live in a small town with my family. I want to tell you a story about my special memories, which is another way of saying my nostalgia. These memories make me feel happy and warm inside. Come with me on a journey through my past and the fun times I had growing up. When I was little, my favorite thing to do was play in the park. The park was close to my house. It had a big, green field, tall trees, and a playground with swings and slides. I used to go there with my friends and my little brother, Tommy. Tommy is 3 years younger than me. We always had so much fun together. One sunny day, I remember we packed a picnic. Mom made sandwiches and lemonade. Tommy and I helped her pack the picnic basket. We put in cookies, apples, and a blanket to sit on. We walked to the park, talking and laughing all the way. At the park, we found a perfect spot under a big tree. The tree's branches made a nice shade, keeping us cool. Tommy and I ran to the playground while Mom set up the picnic. I loved the swings the most. I felt like I was flying when I swung high. Tommy liked the slides. He would climb up and slide down over and over again. After playing for a while, we went back to our picnic spot. Mom called us to eat. The sandwiches tasted so good after all that running around. We drank lemonade and ate the cookies. The cookies had chocolate chips, which were my favorite. After lunch, Tommy and I played tag in the field. We chased each other, trying to touch the other person's shoulder. When we got tired, we lay on the grass, looking up at the sky. We saw clouds in different shapes. One looked like a bunny, and another like a boat. We made up stories about the clouds and laughed a lot. As the sun started to set, we packed up our things and walked home. The sky was painted with orange and pink colors. I held Tommy's hand, and we walked slowly, enjoying the beautiful evening. When we got home, Mom gave us a warm bath. We put on our pajamas and snuggled into bed. That day at the park was one of my favorite memories. Even now, when I think about it, I feel happy inside. I can almost taste the lemonade and feel the cool breeze under the big tree. I have many more memories like this. Each one is special in its own way. I want to share them with you. They are stories of my childhood, full of fun, laughter, and love. These memories are my nostalgia, and they always bring a smile to my face. So, join me as I take you on a journey through my past. We will visit different places, meet my friends, and relive those happy moments. I hope you enjoy my stories and feel the same warmth and joy that I do when I think about them. Chapter 2, Summer at Grandma's. One of my favorite places to visit when I was young was my grandma's house. Grandma lived in the countryside, far away from the city. Every summer, my family would go there for a long visit. Those summers were filled with fun, adventure, and love. Grandma's house was big and old. had a red roof and white walls. There were flowers all around the house, and they smelled so nice. Grandma loved to garden, and she had the most beautiful flowers I had ever seen. The best part of Grandma's house was her big backyard. There was a swing hanging from a tall tree. I spent hours on that swing, feeling the wind in my hair. Grandma also had a small pond with fish in it. Tommy and I would feed the fish every morning. We loved watching them swim around, their shiny scales sparkling in the sun. One summer, something very special happened. Grandma showed us her secret treehouse. It was hidden in the woods behind her house. The treehouse was high up in an old oak tree. Grandma said her father had built it for her when she was a little girl. It was our secret place now. Tommy and I climbed up the wooden ladder to the treehouse. Inside, it was cozy and small. There were cushions to sit on and books to read. We felt like we were on top of the world. From up there, we could see the whole backyard and the fields beyond. It was magical. Grandma would pack us snacks, and we would have little picnics in the treehouse. She made the best peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We also had apple slices and homemade cookies. We would sit in the treehouse, eating our snacks and listening to the birds singing. Sometimes we brought our toys and played games there. It was our special hideaway. One afternoon, Tommy and I decided to go on an adventure. We pretended we were explorers, searching for hidden treasures. We packed a bag with snacks, a map, and a flashlight. We set off into the woods, following the paths Grandma had shown us. The woods were thick with trees, and the sunlight peeked through the leaves, making patterns on the ground. As we walked, we found interesting things. We saw a rabbit hopping away and a family of squirrels playing in the trees. We picked wildflowers and collected pretty stones. We imagined we were in a jungle, looking for a secret cave full of treasures. After a while, we reached a small clearing. There, in the middle of the clearing, was a big, old tree. Its branches were twisted and gnarled, and it looked like something out of a fairy tale. We decided this tree must be the home of a wise old owl. We sat under the tree and ate our snacks, talking about our adventures. When the sun started to set, we knew it was time to go back. We followed our map and found our way home. Grandma was waiting for us with a big smile. She had made a delicious dinner with fresh vegetables from her garden. We told her all about our adventure as we ate. That night, Tommy and I lay in bed, thinking about our day. The adventure in the woods and the magical treehouse made it one of the best days of our summer. We fell asleep with smiles on our faces, dreaming of more adventures. Summers at Grandma's were always full of joy and excitement. I loved the time we spent there, surrounded by nature and the love of our family. Even now, Thinking about those summers makes me feel warm inside. They are some of my most cherished memories, my special nostalgia. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my summer at Grandma's. There are many more memories to share, each one filled with fun and love. Stay with me, and we will continue our journey through my happy past. Chapter 3. The First Day of School. The first day of school is always a mix of excitement and nerves. I remember my very first day like it was yesterday. I was 6 years old and starting kindergarten. I was both excited and scared. I didn't know what to expect, but I was ready to find out. My mom woke me up early that morning. She had laid out my clothes the night before, a blue dress with yellow flowers and my new shiny shoes. I brushed my teeth and got dressed. Mom made me a special breakfast of pancakes shaped like stars. My little brother Tommy watched me with wide eyes. He was still too young for school, and he couldn't wait for his turn. With my backpack on and my lunchbox in hand, we walked to the bus stop. The bus stop was just down the street from our house. There were other kids there too, all with new backpacks and lunchboxes. We smiled at each other shyly. Mom kissed me on the forehead and told me I was going to have a great day. The big yellow school bus pulled up, and I climbed on board. The bus ride was an adventure in itself. I found a seat next to a girl with curly hair. Her name was Emma, and she was starting kindergarten too. We talked about our backpacks and what we had for breakfast. The bus stopped several times, picking up more kids. Soon, the bus was full of chatter and laughter. When we arrived at the school, the driver told us to line up and follow the teacher. My teacher's name was Mrs. Parker. She had a warm smile and kind eyes. She welcomed each of us with a friendly greeting. Our classroom was bright and colorful. There were pictures on the walls, shelves full of books, and a big carpet where we all sat. Mrs. Parker taught us a song about the alphabet. We sang along and clapped our hands. It was fun. We spent the morning learning new things. Mrs. Parker read us a story about a bear who went on an adventure. We also learned about shapes and colors. She showed us how to draw circles and squares. I liked drawing a lot. I made a picture of a house with a big sun in the sky. Mrs. Parker said it was beautiful and put it up on the wall. At lunchtime, we went to the cafeteria. I sat with Emma and some other kids from our class. We shared our food and talked about our favorite cartoons. I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, an apple, and a juice box. After lunch, we went outside to play. The playground was big, with swings, slides, and a sandbox. I played tag with Emma and some other kids. We ran around, laughing and having fun. In the afternoon, we had a rest time. Mrs. Parker gave us mats to lie on. She played soft music and told us to close our eyes and relax. I felt sleepy, but happy. After rest time, we did more activities. We learned a new song and played a game with numbers. Mrs. Parker gave us each a sticker for doing a good job. The school day ended with story time. Mrs. Parker read us another story, this time about a brave little girl who went on a journey to find her lost puppy. I loved listening to stories. When the story was over, it was time to go home. We lined up and walked to the bus. I waved goodbye to Mrs. Parker and my new friends. When I got home, Mom was waiting for me at the bus stop. I ran to her and gave her a big hug. I told her all about my day, the songs we sang, the stories we heard, and the games we played. Tommy listened with wide eyes, asking me lots of questions. I showed Mom the picture I drew, and she said it was wonderful. That night, I went to bed, feeling happy and excited. My first day of school was so much fun. I couldn't wait to go back and learn more. I dreamed of new adventures with my friends and the stories Mrs. Parker would read to us. The first day of school is a special memory for me. It was the beginning of many new friendships and learning experiences. I felt a mix of excitement and nerves, but by the end of the day, I knew school was a place where I would have fun and grow. It's a memory that makes me smile every time I think about it. Chapter 4: The Family Vacation. Every year, my family would go on a vacation. We would choose a new place to explore and spend time together. One of my favorite vacations was when we went to the beach. I was 8 years old, and it was a trip full of fun and excitement. We woke up early in the morning to start our journey. Dad packed the car with our suitcases and a cooler full of snacks. Tommy and I sat in the back seat with our favorite toys and books. Mom gave us each a pillow and a blanket so we could be comfortable during the long drive. We sang songs and played games as we drove to the beach. When we arrived, I was amazed. The beach was so big. The sand was soft and warm under my feet. The ocean stretched out as far as I could see, with waves crashing onto the shore. I could smell the salty air and hear the seagulls calling. We checked into our hotel, which was right by the beach. Our room had a balcony with a view of the ocean. I felt so excited. The first thing we did was put on our swimsuits and head to the beach. Mom and Dad set up a big umbrella and spread out our towels. Tommy and I ran to the water, laughing and splashing. The water was cool and refreshing. We jumped over the waves and let them carry us back to shore. We built sand castles with our buckets and shovels. Our castle had towers, walls, and even a moat. For lunch, we had a picnic on the beach. We ate sandwiches, fruit, and chips. Everything tasted so good with the ocean breeze. After lunch, we went for a walk along the shore. I collected seashells and found a pretty starfish. Tommy found a small crab, and we watched it scuttle across the sand. We wrote our names in the sand with a stick and took pictures. In the afternoon, we decided to explore the boardwalk. There were shops, games, and rides. Tommy and I rode the Ferris wheel. From the top, we could see the whole beach and the ocean beyond. It was an amazing view. We played games and won small prizes. I got a stuffed dolphin, and Tommy got a toy car. We bought ice cream and sat on a bench, enjoying the sweet treat. As the sun began to set, we went back to the beach. The sky turned pink and orange, and the sun slowly dipped into the ocean. It was a beautiful sight. Dad lit a small campfire, and we roasted marshmallows. I made the perfect s'more with gooey marshmallow, melted chocolate, and crunchy graham crackers. We told stories and sang songs around the fire. That night, I fell asleep listening to the sound of the waves. The next day was just as fun. We swam, played games, and explored more of the beach. We even went on a boat ride and saw dolphins jumping in the water. It was a magical experience. Our beach vacation was one of the best times of my life. I loved spending time with my family, playing in the sand, and exploring new places. The memories of that trip always make me feel happy and warm inside. It's one of those special moments that I will always cherish. Chapter 5. The School Play. When I was 10 years old, I took part in my first school play. It was a big event at our school, and everyone was excited. The play was called The Enchanted Forest, and I played the role of a fairy. It was a magical experience that I will never forget. Our teacher, Mrs. Thompson, announced the play during our morning assembly. She told us that we would be having auditions for different roles. I was so excited. I loved acting and singing. I practiced my lines at home and hoped I would get a good part. The day of the auditions came, and I was nervous. I stood in line with my classmates, waiting for my turn. When it was my turn, I took a deep breath and stepped onto the stage. I recited my lines and tried to show my best acting skills. Mrs. Thompson smiled and told me I did a great job. A few days later, the results were posted on the bulletin board. I was thrilled to see my name next to the role of the fairy. I couldn't wait to start rehearsals. We had practice every day after school. We learned our lines, practiced our songs, and worked on our dance moves. It was hard work, but it was also a lot of fun. The play was about a magical forest where fairies, elves, and other creatures lived. There was a brave knight who had to save the forest from an evil sorcerer. I was one of the fairies who helped the knight on his quest. I had a special song to sing, and I got to wear a beautiful costume with glittery wings. On the day of the performance, I was both excited and nervous. We arrived at the school early to get ready. We put on our costumes and had our makeup done. The auditorium was filled with parents, teachers, and friends. I could see Mom, Dad, and Tommy sitting in the front row. They waved at me and I felt a little less nervous. The play started, and everything went smoothly. The knight was brave, the sorcerer was scary, and the fairies were magical. When it was my turn to sing, I took a deep breath and sang my heart out. The audience clapped and cheered. I felt so happy and proud. At the end of the play, we all took a bow. The audience gave us a standing ovation. I saw Mom and Dad clapping and smiling. Tommy was jumping up and down with excitement. Mrs. Thompson came on stage and congratulated us on a job well done. She gave each of us a small trophy as a souvenir. That night, we had a celebration at home. Mom made my favorite dinner, spaghetti and meatballs. We had ice cream for dessert. Dad said he was proud of me, and Tommy gave me a big hug. I felt so loved and happy. Being in the school play was an amazing experience. It taught me a lot about teamwork, practice, and believing in myself. I made new friends and had so much fun. It's a memory that I will always treasure. Whenever I think about that night, I feel a warm glow inside. It's one of those special moments that make me smile. Chapter 6. The Snowy Day. One winter, when I was 11, we had a big snowstorm. It was the most snow I had ever seen. The world outside looked like a winter wonderland. Everything was covered in a thick blanket of white. School was canceled, and we had a whole day to play in the snow. It was one of the best days ever. When I woke up that morning, I looked out the window and gasped. The snow was piled high, and it was still falling. I could see kids already out playing, building snowmen and throwing snowballs. I quickly got dressed in my warmest clothes. A thick coat, snow pants, boots, gloves, and a hat. Tommy was just as excited. We ran downstairs, ready to go outside. Mom had hot cocoa waiting for us. We drank it quickly, feeling the warmth spread through us. Then we bundled up and headed outside. The cold air hit our faces, but we didn't mind. The snow was so soft and fluffy. Tommy and I started by making snow angels. We lay down in the snow and moved our arms and legs to create the angel shapes. It was so much fun. Next, we decided to build a snowman. We rolled 3 big snowballs, one for the body, one for the middle, and one for the head. We found sticks for the arms and rocks for the eyes and mouth. Mom gave us a carrot for the nose and an old scarf and hat to dress him up. Our snowman looked perfect. After building the snowman, we had a snowball fight. Tommy and I ran around, throwing snowballs at each other and laughing. We made a small fort out of snow to hide behind. It felt like we were in a snowy battlefield. We played until we were out of breath and our cheeks were rosy. In the afternoon, Dad joined us outside. He had brought out our sleds. We lived near a big hill that was perfect for sledding. We climbed to the top of the hill and took turns racing down. The sleds went so fast. The wind rushed past us, and we screamed with joy. Even Dad joined in, and we had races to see who could go the fastest. When we got tired, we went back home. Mom had made a big pot of soup to warm us up. We sat by the fireplace, sipping our soup and talking about our snowy adventures. The warmth of the fire and the delicious soup made us feel cozy and content. As the day ended, we watched the snow continue to fall outside. The world looked peaceful and quiet under the snow. We felt tired, but happy. It had been an amazing day full of fun and laughter. Tommy and I went to bed dreaming of more snowy adventures. That snowy day is one of my favorite memories. It was a day filled with joy, laughter, and family. We played in the snow, built a snowman, had a snowball fight, and went sledding. It was a perfect day, and thinking about it always makes me smile. It's one of those special moments that I will always cherish. Chapter 7. The Surprise Party. When I was 12 years old, my friends and family threw me a surprise birthday party. It was one of the best surprises I ever had. The party was filled with laughter, games, and lots of love. It's a memory that always makes me feel special. My birthday is in the summer, so I thought we were just going to have a small celebration with my family. Mom told me we would go to the park for a picnic, and I was excited about that. Little did I know, she had planned something much bigger. On the morning of my birthday, Mom made me a special breakfast of pancakes with strawberries and whipped cream. After breakfast, we got ready to go to the park. I wore my favorite dress and a big smile. Tommy and I packed our toys and a blanket for the picnic. Dad drove us to the park, and I was looking forward to a fun day. When we arrived at the park, I was surprised to see so many of my friends there. They all shouted, "Surprise!" I was shocked and happy. There were balloons, streamers, and a big banner that said, "Happy birthday, Lily." I couldn't believe they had planned this just for me. There were lots of fun activities planned. We played games like sack races, tug of war, and a scavenger hunt. I even had a chance to break a piñata. When it broke open, candy spilled out, and we all scrambled to grab as much as we could. It was so much fun. Mom had packed a delicious picnic for everyone. There were sandwiches, fruit, chips, and cookies. We sat on blankets under the shade of big trees, eating and talking. My friends and I laughed and shared stories. It was wonderful to have all the people I loved in one place. After lunch, it was time for cake. Mom had baked my favorite chocolate cake with vanilla frosting. There were 12 candles on top, one for each year of my life. Everyone sang "Happy Birthday," and I made a wish before blowing out the candles. The cake was delicious, and we all had big slices. One of the best parts of the day was the presents. My friends and family had brought thoughtful gifts. I received books, games, and even a new bike from Mom and Dad. Tommy gave me a handmade card that said, "Best sister ever." It was the sweetest gift of all. As the day came to an end, I felt so grateful. My heart was full of happiness and love. I thanked everyone for the wonderful surprise and the amazing day. We packed up and headed home, tired but incredibly happy. That night, I lay in bed thinking about the surprise party. It was one of the best birthdays I ever had. The surprise, the games, the laughter, and the love made it a day to remember. I felt so special and loved. It's a memory that always brings a smile to my face. The surprise party taught me how much my friends and family cared about me. It showed me the joy of giving and the happiness of being surrounded by loved ones. It's a special moment that I will always treasure. Chapter 8. The Lost Puppy. When I was 13, something very special happened. I found a lost puppy and helped it find its way home. It was a heartwarming adventure that I will never forget. It was a sunny afternoon, and I was walking home from school. I took my usual path through the park. As I walked, I heard a faint whimpering sound. I followed the sound and found a small, scared puppy hiding under a bush. The puppy was dirty and looked hungry. I felt sorry for it and knew I had to help. I gently coaxed the puppy out from under the bush. It had big brown eyes and soft, floppy ears. I could tell it was lost and needed help. I carefully picked it up and carried it home. The puppy snuggled into my arms, and I felt a warm feeling in my heart. When I got home, Mom was surprised to see the puppy. I told her what had happened, and she agreed we should help find its owner. We gave the puppy some water and a small bowl of food. It ate hungrily and wagged its tail. Tommy was excited to see the puppy and wanted to help too. Mom called the local animal shelter and reported the lost puppy. They told us to bring the puppy in so they could check for a microchip. The shelter was close by, so we decided to walk there. The puppy trotted along happily, its tail wagging all the way. At the shelter, the staff scanned the puppy and found a microchip. They said the puppy's name was Max, and that he belonged to a family who lived nearby. They contacted the family, and they were thrilled to hear that Max had been found. They said they would come to the shelter right away. While we waited, the shelter staff let us play with Max. He was a playful and friendly puppy. Tommy and I threw a ball for him, and he chased it with excitement. We laughed as he tried to catch it with his little paws. It was clear that Max was a happy and loving puppy. Soon, Max's family arrived. They were overjoyed to see him. The little girl, who looked about Tommy's age, ran to Max and hugged him tightly. She thanked us over and over for finding her puppy. The parents thanked us too and offered to give us a reward, but we said we were just happy to help. As we walked home, I felt proud of what we had done. Helping Max find his family was a wonderful experience. It felt good to know that we had made a difference. Tommy and I talked about how we would love to have a puppy of our own someday. That evening, as we sat down for dinner, we talked about Max and his happy reunion. Mom and Dad said they were proud of us for being kind and helping a lost animal. It made me feel happy and warm inside. Finding the lost puppy and helping it find its way home is a memory that I will always treasure. It taught me the importance of kindness and helping others. It's a special moment that makes me smile every time I think about it. Chapter 9: The School Science Fair. When I was 14, I took part in the school science fair. It was an exciting event where students showed off their science projects. I decided to do a project on volcanoes. It was a lot of work, but it was also a lot of fun. Our science teacher, Mr. Johnson, announced the science fair at the beginning of the school year. He told us to think of a project that we were interested in. I had always been fascinated by volcanoes, so I decided to make a model of an erupting volcano. I wanted to show how volcanoes work and what happens when they erupt. I started by doing research. I went to the library and checked out books about volcanoes. I read about how they form, what causes them to erupt, and the different types of volcanoes. I took lots of notes and made a plan for my project. Next, I gathered the materials I needed. I used a cardboard box for the base, clay to shape the volcano, and baking soda and vinegar for the eruption. I spent several weekends working on my project. I shaped the volcano out of clay and painted it to look realistic. I added small trees and houses to show how a volcanic eruption can affect the surrounding area. When the model was ready, I practiced the eruption. I put baking soda inside the volcano and added vinegar. It bubbled and fizzed, just like a real eruption. I was excited to show my project at the science fair. The day of the science fair arrived, and I was both nervous and excited. We set up our projects in the school gym. There were tables filled with all kinds of interesting projects, solar systems, plant experiments, and even a robot. I set up my volcano and made sure everything was ready. Parents, teachers, and students walked around, looking at the projects. Mr. Johnson came by to see my volcano. He asked me questions about how volcanoes work and how I made my model. I explained everything I had learned and showed him the eruption. He smiled and said, "I did a great job." Later, the judges came by to look at the projects. They were teachers from different schools. They asked me questions and seemed impressed with my volcano. I was nervous, but I answered their questions confidently. At the end of the day, it was time to announce the winners. Mr. Johnson called everyone together and thanked us for our hard work. He started with the honorable mentions, then the third and second place winners. My heart was pounding as he announced the first place winner. When he called my name, I couldn't believe it. I had won first place. I walked up to the stage to receive my trophy. Everyone clapped and cheered. I felt so proud and happy. Mr. Johnson shook my hand and said I deserved it. My parents were there too, and they were beaming with pride. Tommy gave me a big hug and said I was the best. Winning the science fair was a wonderful experience. It taught me the importance of hard work and dedication. It also showed me that I could achieve great things if I put my mind to it. It's a memory that always makes me feel proud and happy. Chapter 10, Graduation Day. High school graduation is a big milestone in life. It marks the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. My graduation day was filled with excitement, joy, and a bit of sadness. It was a day to celebrate all that we had accomplished and to look forward to the future. The weeks leading up to graduation were busy. We had exams to study for, college applications to finalize, and graduation rehearsals to attend. I was both excited and nervous about what was to come. I couldn't wait to graduate, but I knew I would miss my friends and teachers. On the morning of graduation, I woke up early. Mom helped me get ready. I put on my cap and gown and looked at myself in the mirror. I felt proud and a little bit emotional. Tommy, now 10 years old, said I looked like a grown-up. We all laughed, but deep down, I knew he was right. We arrived at the school, and the gym was decorated beautifully. There were balloons, flowers, and a big banner that said, "Congratulations, graduates." My classmates and I lined up, waiting for the ceremony to start. We were all excited, chatting and taking pictures. The ceremony began with the principal's speech. He talked about our journey through high school and how proud he was of us. He reminded us of all the hard work we had put in and the friendships we had made. His words were inspiring and made me feel even prouder of our achievements. Next, it was time for the valedictorian speech. My friend Sarah had been chosen as the valedictorian. She gave a beautiful speech about our memories, our challenges, and our hopes for the future. She talked about the fun times we had shared and the lessons we had learned. Her speech made us laugh and brought tears to our eyes. Finally, it was time to receive our diplomas. One by one, we walked across the stage. Our names were called, and we shook hands with the principal and our teachers. When it was my turn, I felt a mix of excitement and pride. I walked across the stage, received my diploma, and smiled for the camera. My family cheered, and I felt so happy. After the ceremony, we celebrated with our families and friends. There were hugs, tears, and lots of photos. Mom and Dad told me how proud they were, and Tommy gave me a big hug. We took pictures with my friends, capturing the special moment. We laughed, cried, and talked about our plans for the future. That evening, we had a graduation party at our house. We invited friends, family, and neighbors. There was music, dancing, and delicious food. We played games and shared stories from our school years. It was a night full of joy and celebration. As the party came to an end, I felt a mix of emotions. I was excited about the future and the new adventures that awaited me. But I was also a bit sad to leave behind my school and the friends I'd made. Graduation marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Graduation day is a memory that I will always treasure. It was a day of celebration, reflection, and looking forward to the future. It taught me the value of hard work, the importance of friendships, and the excitement of new beginnings. It's a special moment that makes me proud and happy every time I think about it. These chapters, filled with different experiences and emotions, form the tapestry of my childhood and teenage years. Each memory is a precious piece of my past, a reminder of the joy, love, and lessons that have shaped who I am today.